had talked to him at maybe 2:15. He called me, and it was a normal, well, I'll see you later. I love you, bye. That was the last time I talked to him.
I hate you. You're gonna die. I don't want to do this.
Scott Ponder was the quintessential Southern charmer, a local boy with a penchant for fast bikes who spun his passion for Suzukis into a thriving local business in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
He was the type that would take $5 and turn it into $50 and take $50 and turn it into $500.
He had a fantastic mind. The dealership actually started that January of that year. It just kept growing and growing.
And it was a family affair that even brought Scott's mom into the fold.
So his business was thriving to the point where even his mother was involved. So they had a close bond, it appears.
Son.
Superbike Motorsports became a thriving haven for racing enthusiasts in a part of South Carolina known for its wide-open roads, all with the help of mechanic Chris Sherbert and Scott's best friend, Brian Lucas.
Brian had quit his job and started working just for Scott. He loved Scott.
It was a good life, and for Scott and his wife, Melissa, it was all about to get better.
So Scott looked like he was on top of the world. He was on top of the world. He had a wife, a best friend, and his mother. Everybody was in his corner, the whole town.
Actually in my hometown at my brother's home, and I didn't tell anybody. I had run into the drugstore, grabbed a pregnancy test, took a pregnancy test, and started screaming in the bathroom because
And now he has a baby on the way. So he is on top of the world.
I love that he knew this baby was coming.
But all that joy would come to a screeching halt when Scott showed up to his store one afternoon.
That day I had talked to him at maybe 2:15. He called me, and it was a normal, well, I'll see you later. I love you, bye. That was the last time I talked to him.
Wow.
It was a slow day at the shop.
Brian wasn't even supposed to be there that day. He had the day off. He was going away with his family for a long weekend and was called in just minutes before because there was a customer that something had not been done to his motorcycle.
So it looks like his best friend actually came into work even though he wasn't supposed to be there. He was supposed to be on vacation.
Customer was upset.
That disgruntled customer would prove to be a crucial clue. While Scott was talking with him, a friend named Noel called the shop to see if he could drop by. He was only 7 minutes away. All the time it took for Scott to hang up the phone, for someone to open fire at everyone in the shop.
So you decided to kill them?
This happened within that amount of time. Noel said when he came up, he thought that Scott and Brian were playing a trick on him. He said he actually kicked Brian, to try to tell him, okay, guys, that's a good trick.
So just out of the blue, somebody comes to the shop and kills everybody in the shop. Okay? What is that all about? This is crazy.
He quickly realized it was no laughing matter.
His mama's been shot, the mechanic's been shot, and the owner.
Whoever done the murders shot everybody in the chest and the head point blank.
That's horrible.
A massacre in broad daylight. Mechanic Chris and Mom Beverly were shot point blank in the back of the building.
So you decided to kill them?
storefront and parking lot in their attempt to escape. All four would die from their injuries. Word would make its way to Scott's wife, Melissa.
I got a phone.
That's horrible, because Melissa just found out that she was pregnant. So that's horrible. That's horrible for Scott. He was on top of the world, and now this happens.
Phone call on my cell phone, and it was one of his vendors, and she said, I'm trying to get up to the dealership and I can't get there. There's a huge blockade of law enforcement, and she said, I'm hearing little things that there might have been a shooting. Immediately I start calling him and call and call. I would call his cell phone. Well, it was shut off. I couldn't.
I know she was like, what's going on? She can't get in touch with Scott. He's not answering the phone. I know she had to be worried sick.
Register that at the time until I looked up at one of our family friends who was standing there, and the tears were rolling down his face. And as soon as I saw the tears rolling down his face, I knew that this was real.
Had to been a painful situation to find out your husband was killed. So let's figure out who the killer is.
A brutal quadruple murder that claimed the lives of Superbike Motorsports owner Scott Ponder, his best friend Brian Lucas, mother Beverly Guy, and mechanic Chris Sherbert.
So you decided to kill them?
It's a question that would baffle police. The last recorded customer at the Superbike dealership claimed that there was one other person waiting around the shop on the day of the killings.
He is saying he was at the shop. He saw a person who had on a leather coat. It was a rather warm day, and he was looking at a motorcycle.
So what would be his reasoning? Whoever killed all of these people, what could be the reason to do something like this?
Like he never had any motorcycle experience.
Whoever that was is believed to have been the shooter.
But months would pass, and then 13 years with no leads to a real face or name to match.
13 years, no leads whatsoever. 13 long years. Somebody got away with murder.
And they're not going to quit.
With no leads in sight, some mysterious missing persons cases were about to unleash more connections in Spartanburg than detectives in this small town could ever imagine. A married couple with a drug history had vanished. At first, law enforcement wonder whether addiction may account for their disappearance.
Yeah, that's very suspicious. Very suspicious.
But a year later, a local bartender named Kayla Brown and her boyfriend Charlie Carver also go missing.
Okay, so now we got two couples that have gone missing after this murder.
In addition to bartending, Kayla worked odd jobs cleaning properties for a local real estate agent named Todd Colehep.
Hello. How you doing?
Doing well.
A normal-seeming business leader, Colehep tells detectives Kayla and Charlie were hired to clear brush on his farm the day they disappeared.
Several of the questions that we asked you, okay, are inconsistent with what phone records say.
He tells investigators they were only on his farm for 90 minutes, but cell phone records tell a different story.
You really need to stop lying.
She was on your property for several hours. That's a conflict.
And when they discover that Todd is a registered sex offender because of an Arizona juvenile kidnapping and rape conviction, they get warrants for his home and farm simultaneously.
So now we got a sex offender in the mix. I'm still not understanding why these people were killed and why these two couples are now missing.
Would you say that she was only there an hour and a half when she was there pretty much the whole afternoon?
You really need to stop lying.
I don't have an
While police question Todd at his home, another team raids his farm looking for clues about Kayla or Charlie. What they discover instead, locked inside a Connex container, shakes them to their core.
Ooh, what did they find? What could it be? What did they find in that container?
What? You okay? Go. You have any weapons? Coming through, okay?
Gotcha. How are you, honey? This is bolt cutters. This is our investigator. He's a paramedic.
Oh my goodness, there's a lady inside of the container on that guy's farm. Okay, let's see what this is all about.
Oh yeah. Okay, we're gonna get you out of there, okay? Just hang loose for me.
Do you know where your buddy is?
She's all chained up, so looks like somebody has been going there and feeding her. Could it be the guy who owns the farm?
Charlie?
Yes.
He shot him.
He shot him? Who did? Douche.
Todd Colehep shot Charlie Carver 3 times in the chest, wrapped him in a blue tarp, put him in the bucket of the tractor, locked me down here. I never seen him again.
So you decided to kill them?
He says there's several bodies dead and buried out here, and he says that the dogs will be ruined if they go looking because there's red pepper.
Wow, this guy is cuckoo. Okay, he's killing people and putting them on his farm.
Sheriff searching Todd's farm.
Are you okay?
Find Kayla alive and in chains.
How are you, honey?
In a shipping container where Colehep had been keeping her alive as his sex slave.
Okay, this guy's crazy. A purity nut job.
After murdering her boyfriend in front of her. Body cameras capture the stunning moments and candid confessions.
Todd Colehep shot Charlie Carver 3 times in the chest, wrapped him in a blue tarp, put him in the bucket of the tractor, locked me down here. I never seen him again.
Minutes later, they also capture Colehep at home.
You have Kayla in your property. She was locked in a container. Okay? She just told us that you shot and killed Charlie. You're under arrest right now for kidnapping. If you want to help yourself, tell me where Charlie's at so we can go find his body.
But Colehep, a textbook psychopath, does his best to maintain control.
So you're saying you didn't lock her up, you didn't put her in a Connex box or anything?
You really need to stop lying.
Probably a good thing. Go ahead and put him in the back of your car.
So that police officer ain't playing with him. He said, put him in the police car. This guy has major issues. Something's wrong with this guy. You're doing this to people, killing them and raping the women, keeping them in containers, using them as slaves.
As Kayla is being driven to a local hospital, her harrowing story continues.
He didn't know if he was going to kill me or sell me or what yet, but he just wanted me for some reason.
Then an unbelievable, stunning moment.
He also told me that a few years back that he walked into a bike shop in Anderson.
Kayla unwittingly breaks open another case investigators had been chasing for 13 years.
Walked into a bike shop in Anderson and shot 4 people and left, and they never found out who did it.
So you decided to kill them?
He liked to brag that he was a serial killer and a mass murderer.
Once detectives have Colehep under a microscope in a private room, he proudly spills it all himself.
I cleared that door in under 30 seconds. You guys would have been proud. I'm sorry, but you guys would have been proud.
This guy's crazy.
In a bid to avoid the death penalty and transfer his assets to his mother, Colehep cops to the 2003 massacre of the 4 employees at the Superbike dealership.
So you decided to kill them?
Totally caught me off guard. I never, in my wildest dreams, he was not somebody who was on my radar screen.
I really felt like I didn't have much hope that this case would ever be solved.
So here we are 13 years later, and they finally find out who killed these people. This guy is a psychopath. He had no reason to do it, and he did it. That's what psychopaths do.
Cole Hepp stumbled upon the superbike dealership less than 2 years after returning to Spartanburg, following a 14-year juvenile prison sentence for kidnapping and raping his neighbor when he was 15.
He's had issues from day one. He's had issues from day one. He's been doing this probably 15 years at the age of 15 or younger.
Thought a motorcycle would be a fresh start to a new life.
He had bought a bike about a year ago. Someone had stole it, and then they come back in, and they were pranksters, Scott and Brian was. And they asked the man, "You gonna buy another bike so it can get stolen too?"
He felt like they were making fun of him.
That was all it took to return and kill everyone in the shop, leaving that sketch behind as a clue that ultimately never matched to his face.
So he killed them because he thought they were making fun of him. That's crazy.
But Todd liked to brag to Kayla about other murders.
He had another guy who bring his girlfriend with him. He was gonna let her go, but she pissed him off, so he shot her in the back of the head. He said he buried her somewhere on the land too.
So he's running his mouth when he's going out there feeding her and having his way with her. He's out there running his mouth, and that's how he really got caught.
Sheriffs search Todd's farm. They also find the remains of another missing couple near the body of Kayla's boyfriend, Charlie.
The land is supposed to be my
Sanctuary.
yeah, not my killing field.
Right.
It was supposed to be the place where I go to relax and get away from people and not deal with this.
Thanks to Kayla's bravery, Spartanburg's own serial murderer is locked away for good.
Other than the boy in Arizona and superbikes and the ones that we have on the property, have you killed anybody else?
Is that enough?
No, this is the thing. No, this is the thing.
This guy's sitting up here laughing. Crazy.
But while the extraordinary young survivor grapples with survivor's guilt,
Get the lift to it. The rest of it.
That you get to live.
How is that fair?
the family of Cole Hepp's victims think of her as their hero.
Sad.
They hate you. You're gonna die. I don't want to do this.